You ever look back and realize you ignored the loudest warning signs just because you wanted to believe someone wouldn't hurt you? Yeah, that was me. Dumbass in love, thinking I had it all figured out. Let me backtrack a bit. A year ago, I was living what I thought was my dream life. I just hit a solid milestone with my software startup small team, but we were finally profitable. I'd bought a modest townhouse in Austin, and against all odds, I was getting married to Kendall. Kendall freaking Monroe. The girl everyone on Instagram called goals. Blonde hair, perfect smile, 150K followers who all thought she was some free-spirited, wellness-loving queen. She posted sunrise yoga pics while I worked 14-hour days coding. Whatever. I wasn't complaining. I thought we were a team. And when I proposed, it felt right. She cried, posted the ring pic 5 minutes later, and tagged every luxury wedding vendor you could think of. I should have known that was red flag number 1. 6 months ago, wedding planning turned into a production. She wanted a rustic chic wedding on a rented vineyard outside of Austin. It has to be magical, she said. Magical meant a $40K deposit, a TikTok-worthy flower wall, a champagne donkey, yes, that's a thing, and 2 photographers. I was stressed, but I figured, hey, once in a lifetime. Right, then came Carter. Tall, tatted, fitness trainer. Also, Kendall's ex. When I first heard his name, it was casual. Oh, I ran into Carter at Whole Foods, she said, sipping her green juice like it wasn't a damn landmine. Cool, I replied. You guys still talk? She smiled. A little too smooth, not really. We just caught up for like a minute. Lie, I didn't know it then, but that was my first WTF moment. Last month, I started noticing things. Kendall would take her calls outside. Her laptop suddenly had passwords. She accidentally left her phone on Do Not Disturb. And the kicker, she told me she was going on a content retreat with her bridesmaids. But the location tag wasn't anywhere near where they said they'd be. So I did what any guy with a gut feeling and trust issues would do. I called in a favor. My college roommate, Alex, does freelance cyber work, white hat hacker type. I just asked him, can you help me figure out if I'm losing my mind or if Kendall's doing something behind my back? He didn't even blink. Say less. 2 weeks ago, Alex got back to me with a Dropbox folder, messages, call logs, a few Instagram DMs that had been deleted but still cached, and one video. One fucking video. It was security footage from a boutique hotel downtown. Kendall walking into the lobby holding Carter's hand. 11:34 p.m. The night she told me she was staying with her maid of honor to finalize the seating chart. They weren't there to talk color schemes. I didn't confront her, not yet. I just froze for a full hour. Sat there with the screen paused, her smiling, him pulling her closer. My stomach felt like it had caved in. And then I got angry. Last week, I started planning my own version of wedding prep. I talked to a lawyer. Turns out, the prenup Kendall had breezily signed months ago included a fidelity clause, a small line that said if either party was proven to have been unfaithful before the wedding date, the agreement was void and any shared assets would default to the other. Guess who wrote that clause in? Me. It was Alex's idea. Actually, people don't change. He once told me after his fiancée dipped with her coworker, but you can prepare like they will. So I added that clause. At the time, I thought it was unnecessary. Now it was gold. I updated the prenup file, gathered digital evidence. I even hired a second photographer not for the wedding, but for the surveillance. My own behind-the-scenes coverage. Yesterday morning, rehearsal brunch. Kendall was glowing. Carter was out of sight, but I knew he was around. She even made a toast about how lucky we were to find each other at the perfect moment. I watched her say it and thought, are you lucky or just really good at lying to cameras and men? She kissed me on the cheek. I smiled back, but in my head, I was replaying the plan, step by step. I wasn't just walking away. I was going to make damn sure everyone saw the truth before I did. I didn't sleep that night. I laid next to Kendall, watching her breathe like she hadn't been playing two lives behind my back. She looked peaceful, like someone who had the world eating out of her palm. I kept staring at her phone, sitting screen down on the nightstand, like it was mocking me. I almost reached for it. Almost. Instead, I got up, went to the living room, opened my laptop, and checked everything one last time. The video footage, the screenshots, the synced messages, the copy of our prenup, the custom presentation I'd prepared. Yeah, I said presentation. Don't judge me. If I was going to get burned, I might as well be the one holding the flamethrower. I added music, subtitles. Hell, I added transitions. I was petty and heartbroken. And apparently also in my filmmaker era. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. I wanted clarity. I wanted my friends and family to know. I didn't want whispers. I didn't want people guessing later about what happened. Nah. I wanted reality to slap them in the face the way it slapped me. That morning, Kendall was in full bride mode. Hair appointment, spray tan, matching satin robes with her girls. All smiles, all shine. She even sent me a selfie. Can't wait to marry you, babe. I stared at the screen for a full minute. My thumb hovered over the reply button. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to throw my phone, but I didn't. Instead, I typed, "Me too." Yeah, that was a lie, one of many floating around that day. Meanwhile, my best man, Danny, showed up at my place, looking nervous as hell. I told him everything the night before, showed him the folder, the footage, the whole plan. He said, "Bro, are you sure you want to do this, like, in front of everyone?" I just nodded. She made me live a lie in private, so I'll end it in public. He didn't say anything for a second. Then he clapped my shoulder. Then let's make this the most unforgettable wedding that never happened. The vineyard was packed, guests in their sun hats and suits, champagne already flowing, music playing, giant white tent with fairy lights. Kendall's dad paid for a drone crew. Ironic, really. He wanted cinematic memories. He was definitely going to get some... Kendall arrived late. Of course, that's her thing. Everything's a grand entrance. I saw her through the crowd before she saw me. God, she looked stunning. Dressed tight at the waist, long veil trailing behind her. You wouldn't know she'd been sneaking around with Carter for weeks. You wouldn't know she lied to my face every day like it was no big deal. When she reached the altar, she looked at me with that glow, that whole bride in a rom-com look. I faked a smile, just enough for the cameras. The officiant began, doing his whole love is sacred, bond of eternity speech, blah, blah, blah. My ears were ringing, my heartbeat was all over the place. I felt like I was about to detonate. Not with rage, but with this deep, buried sadness I didn't even know how to carry. Then the moment came. "Marcus, do you take Kendall to be your lawfully wedded wife?" I raised a hand. The officiant blinked. Kendall looked confused. "Before I answer that," I said, stepping forward slightly, mic still on me, "I think we should all take a moment to celebrate how honest, loyal, and committed Kendall's been during this engagement." A couple of chuckles from the guests. They thought I was being cute. I wasn't. I looked toward Danny. He nodded. The projector originally meant for the wedding slideshow flickered to life. The music stopped. First, a photo of Kendall and Carter at the boutique hotel lobby, then a quick video clip of them holding hands, walking into the elevator, then a transcript of a message Kendall had deleted. "You know, I'll always want you more. This wedding is just for show anyway." Gasps, literal gasps. Her aunt dropped her champagne. Her dad turned beet red. People were shifting in their chairs, murmuring. Kendall frozen. "Still want to lie," I said, turning to her. "Marcus," she whispered, "what are you doing?" "What you should have done weeks ago," I snapped. "Being honest." She started crying. Real tears, or maybe performative. "I don't even know anymore. Please," she said, "we can talk about this later. Not now. Not like this." I tilted my head. "You weren't worried about how you cheated, but now you care how I react." She reached for my hand. I stepped back. I loved you, I said, voice cracking. Like, for real, I defended you when people called you fake. I gave up deals, hours of sleep, stability, everything for you, and you couldn't even give me basic respect. The crowd was dead silent. This wedding is canceled, I said. I won't marry someone who sees loyalty as optional. And if you're wondering, yes, the prenup's void. You walked away with Carter. I walk away with everything else. Her dad stood up, about to say something. I didn't care. I walked down the aisle, straight through the guests, eyes ahead. I could hear her crying. I could hear people whispering. But I didn't stop. I wasn't running from something. I was walking away on purpose, back at my car. I sat there shaking. Not from nerves, but from the adrenaline finally leaving my body. I stared at my hands, at the steering wheel. Then I laughed, barked out a laugh that sounded more like a sob. My phone blew up. Missed calls from Kendall, her mom, 2 of her bridesmaids, messages that ranged from, "I can't believe you embarrassed her like that," to, "I'm so sorry, we knew something was off." And one from Carter, "You didn't have to go nuclear, man. I sent back one thing you earned every second." That night, I stayed at Danny's place. We drank beers in silence for a while, before he finally said, "So what now?" I shrugged. "Now I rebuild, clean break." He nodded. "You know, half the people at the wedding texted me after. Said they respected the hell out of you for doing it. Said they wished they had your balls." "Yeah," I said, smirking. "Too bad I lost 'em somewhere between the projector setup and the crying ex-fiancée." He laughed. But deep down, I felt lighter, like this weight I'd been carrying for months finally fell off. I wasn't happy, but I was free. And honestly, that's a better start than most people get. The morning after, I woke up to over 200 missed notifications. Texts, DMs, calls, emails, even a LinkedIn request. Not joking. I didn't even touch my phone at first. Just sat on the edge of Danny's couch, staring at the floor like, what the hell just happened? Then it all came flooding back. The projector, Kendall's face. That silence after the video, me walking out. It felt like a movie. A really painful, well-directed breakup film that somehow I'd written and starred in. Danny handed me a cup of coffee. "Strong as hell, y'all. You good?" I nodded slowly. No idea. I feel numb. But also like I just performed emotional surgery on myself without anesthesia. He chuckled. "Well, Doc, you killed it." I finally picked up my phone. First text I opened was from Kendall. "I'm sorry, please. Just call me. We need to talk. Please." Then another. "I messed up. I know that. But we don't have to throw everything away. Don't let one mistake ruin us." One mistake. One. I scrolled. Dozens of them. Deleted messages, DMs I'd recovered, phone records. That wasn't one mistake. That was a lifestyle. Another message pinged in as I was reading. "You humiliated me. I can't believe you would destroy me like that in front of everyone. I thought you loved me." Oh, so now I was the bad guy. That's the thing about cheaters. They don't regret the lying, the cheating, the betrayal. They regret getting caught. Later that day, I started getting messages from people I hadn't talked to in years. Old college friends, former coworkers, even my cousin who I haven't seen since I was 12. Apparently, someone had recorded the whole thing on their phone and posted it to TikTok. The caption, "Groom exposes cheating bride at the altar and walks out like a legend." 1.2 million views in 6 hours. I watched it once. It felt surreal, like watching a stranger live out the moment I just survived. Kendall looked genuinely stunned in the video. Tears, panic, desperation, but even through the chaos, I didn't feel bad. She made her choices. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. What really hit me was the comment section. This man didn't just dodge a bullet, he dodged a grenade. "Someone give this dude a podcast. I'd listen to every word. This is the best wedding content I've ever seen. More, please." Honestly, she deserved that. He handled it better than most. It's weird, getting validation from strangers. But damn, it helped. Kendall went quiet for a few days, probably dealing with the fallout. But then came the Instagram post. A black and white photo of her sitting on the floor in her wedding dress, eyes puffy. Caption, sometimes the people you love the most end up hurting you the deepest. Healing is hard, but necessary. Please respect our privacy during this time. Bitch, what? You cheat for weeks, lie to my face, and now you're the victim. I almost commented something, but I stopped myself. She wanted attention. She wanted sympathy. She wanted to control the narrative. I let the comment section handle it. And oh boy, did they... Girl, didn't he expose you with video? Sit down. Respect your privacy. You posted your relationship every day for 3 years. Healing from what? Getting caught. Justice for Marcus. A week later, her brand deals started dropping. I heard through a mutual that 2 major skincare lines pulled out of their collabs with her. Some influencer agency dropped her from their roster. Apparently, one brand asked for their PR feedback because her image was no longer aligned with their values. I didn't do any of that. I didn't email anyone. I didn't post anything. I didn't even talk to the media. All I did was say the truth. Once. That was enough. Funny how karma works better when you don't force it. Then came Carter. Yeah, that Carter. He messaged me, no hey or how are you. Just, you didn't have to ruin her. Ruin her! I laughed out loud. I responded. I didn't. She did that all by herself. He didn't reply. Guess he didn't expect me to clap back. Maybe he thought I'd fold or cry or ask why. But I was way past that. From what I heard, he ghosted her not long after. Typical. He was fine sneaking around with someone else's fiancée. Not so fine when the world knew about it. She tried posting cryptic quotes for a while. You know the type. People show their true colors when it's too late. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer. I stayed silent. Because, unlike her, I didn't need a quote to hide behind. I had facts. And facts don't need filters. A couple of weeks passed, and that's when Lauren, one of her bridesmaids, called me. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity won. Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry, she said. For what? For not saying anything. For watching her do this to you and not calling it out. Apparently, everyone around her knew something was off. Grace, the maid of honor, caught her texting Carter months ago. Another bridesmaid walked in on them, hugging way too intimately during a fitness meetup. No one said anything, because Kendall was charming, persuasive, manipulative. She always made you feel like you were overreacting if you questioned her. Lauren said, yeah, tell me about it. But I didn't hold it against her, or any of them, honestly. I wasn't mad anymore. I was just tired. Tired of defending myself. Tired of pretending like I was fine when I wasn't. Tired of pretending like love should come at the cost of your own peace. You know what's crazy, though? I wasn't even angry at Kendall at the end of it all. I was angry at me, for staying, for excusing, for letting things slide. There were so many moments I should have walked away earlier, like when she called my work boring, or when she told her friends I was too intense because I didn't want to party every weekend, or when she dismissed me wanting to keep the wedding private, saying, "This is my dream, Marcus, let me have this," and I let her, because I thought that's what love looked like, sacrifice, compromise, being easy to love. Turns out, love shouldn't feel like negotiation. A month later, I finally moved out of our shared place. I'd been staying with Danny, but it was time. I kept the house, the car, the business. She got her suitcase, her phone, and her regrets. Packing up her stuff, I found one of our old photos. One of the rare unposted ones, just her in my hoodie, no makeup, eating chips on the couch, laughing. For a second, I felt it, that old version of us, the version that almost made it Then I tossed the photo into a drawer, closed it, and kept packing. Because that version of us, it died the second she let someone else into our life. And now I was finally ready to start mine back. It's funny how quiet life gets after you blow yours up. No more vendors calling, no more event planners emailing, no more babe, can you approve this flower arrangement texts? Just silence. At first, it was disorienting. I'd wake up expecting chaos. Kendall running around screaming about hair trials or freaking out because the napkin folds weren't symmetrical. Instead, I'd roll over, stare at the ceiling of Danny's guest room, and just exist. I didn't have a job to rush to. Being a founder has perks, and I built my company to be self-sustaining, but without the wedding to plan, or the fake future to pretend I was excited for. The stillness felt heavy. And that's when it hit me. I had no idea what my life actually was without her. So I started small. First thing I did, got a haircut. Like a real one. Different style. New barber. You wouldn't think that means much, but it did. Felt symbolic. Like I was shedding this version of myself that tried too damn hard to impress someone who never really saw me. Then I cleaned up the townhouse, top to bottom, cleared every room she had touched, tossed the faux farmhouse decor, the fake eucalyptus, the mason jar centerpieces she bought in bulk for the vibe. Gone. I even deleted the shared Spotify playlists. I know, petty. But every time our song popped up on shuffle, it felt like a punch in the chest. No thanks. One day, I stood in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, looked around and said out loud, "All right, this is mine now." Felt good. The funny thing is, when people know you've been publicly humiliated, or more accurately, when you've made your ex look like a clown, they start acting weird around you. Some people avoided me altogether. Like my existence was a reminder that betrayal is a very real thing. Others wanted tea. I couldn't even go grab coffee without someone being like, "So, did she really cheat with her ex like the whole time?" And then there were the DMs. Jesus. You'd be surprised how many strangers will slide into your inbox with, "Just wanted to say I support you," and then 2 seconds later, send a pic of them in lingerie with, "If you ever need a distraction." I didn't engage, not because I wasn't tempted, hey, I'm human, but because I was tired of anything that felt fake. I'd had enough illusion to last me a decade. What I did respond to were the real messages. A guy who said his fiancée had been cheating for months, and he hadn't had the courage to leave until he saw my video. A woman who told me she wished she'd spoken up when her sister's boyfriend was clearly being shady. A kid who said, "You made standing up for yourself look not pathetic. Thank you." I didn't expect that part. Turns out, the truth, ugly as it is, echoes in people. A couple weeks into the new solo era, I went to a friend's housewarming. I almost didn't go, wasn't in the mood for social stuff. But Danny basically shoved me into an Uber. "It's time," he said. "You need to stop haunting your own life." So I went. Standard rooftop party in Austin. Craft beers, people pretending to like house music, a guy with a guitar who refused to play anything anyone actually knew. And then, her. Not Kendall. Jesus, no, her opposite. Actually, her name was Cam. Short for Camille. She was wearing Converse, eating chips straight from the bag, and very openly arguing with someone about why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I remember thinking, God, she's loud. Not obnoxious loud, just alive loud. She laughed with her whole face, didn't pretend to be interested in people who bored her. At one point, she roasted a guy for talking about crypto for too long, then immediately turned to me and said, "You look like someone who's either going to say something smart or completely ruin my night. Want to roll the dice?" I laughed, harder than I had in weeks. We ended up on a balcony away from the crowd, sharing a six-pack and talking about, well, everything. I didn't tell her about Kendall right away. She didn't ask. We talked about books, food, why she hated kale with a passion that bordered on religious, and how she once got banned from a yoga class for calling the instructor a spiritual pyramid scheme. I told her I used to be engaged. She raised an eyebrow. Used to be? Yeah, I said, she cheated. I walked out at the altar. She didn't flinch. Damn, she said. Please tell me there's a video. There is. Legend, she grinned, and passed me the last beer. We didn't kiss. We didn't even exchange numbers that night. Just a simple good talk and a fist bump. But it felt clean. No pressure, no games, just two people being real for a minute. And after everything that felt huge. A few days later, she followed me on Instagram, sent a DM that just said, "Still judging your music taste from the playlist you shared in 2019. Don't think I forgot." I replied, "Not my fault you can't appreciate Taylor Swift's reputation arc." And somehow, that was our thing. Jokes, music roasts, random memes. It wasn't a relationship. Not yet. But it also wasn't another distraction. Cam didn't try to fill the hole Kendall left. She didn't even fit in that space. She existed outside of it. And maybe that's what I needed. Something that didn't feel like patchwork. Meanwhile, Kendall was still spiraling. A mutual friend told me she started seeing a therapist publicly. Of course, she made an entire series on TikTok called Healing My Inner Bride. I'm not joking. Episode 1, her in soft lighting, crying into a cup of matcha. Episode 3, journaling under a tree about forgiveness and frequency. Episode 6, a vague poem about betrayal, ending with a whisper. To the man who left me shattered. Thank you. You forced me to rebuild. Forced girl. I gave you evidence. You shattered yourself. I didn't respond. Not to her, not to the drama, not even when she tried reaching out again. Yeah, she did. Emailed me one night, long, emotional. Talked about how she was in a weird headspace during our engagement, how she thought Carter was comfort, but realized too late it was just old habits. How she missed what we had. I stared at that email for maybe an hour. Then I archived it. Closure isn't always about answers. Sometimes it's just choosing not to open the door again. So here I am. 3 months post-non-wedding. No fiancé, no fairy tale, just me. And honestly, that's more than enough. I'm not saying I've got it all figured out. I still flinch when my phone buzzes late at night. I still hesitate when someone asks if I'm seeing anyone. I still avoid that coffee shop we used to go to on Sundays. But I'm healing. Not performatively, not for likes, just quietly, one real day at a time. And maybe that's the most honest love story I've ever lived. The one where I finally chose myself. One morning, about a month after the whole wedding, that wasn't. I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about Kendall in, 3 days. 3 full days. No intrusive memory of her voice echoing through the hallway. No phantom texts from her name popping into my brain. No late-night dreams where she showed up and tried to explain everything with that fake, I just made a mistake voice. She was just gone. Mentally, emotionally. And I was still here, living, breathing, unbothered. It was like I'd finally stopped dragging a corpse around on my back. Cam and I started hanging out more. Still chill, still no expectations. Some nights, we'd sit on her roof with whiskey and watch the city lights. Other times, we'd cook the most random, chaotic meals and argue over who destroyed the garlic bread. Seriously, how did you burn and undercook it at the same time, she'd say, flipping the tray? Talent. I'd grin. We weren't dating not officially. We didn't define it. Which was honestly perfect. But here's the thing. I wasn't prepared for how hard it is to unlearn suspicion. Cam would laugh at her phone, and I'd feel it, that twitch in my gut, the whisper in my brain, who's she texting? We'd make plans, and if she canceled last minute, a part of me immediately assumed the worst. Like trust was some vase that shattered with Kendall, and now every little vibration cracked it more. One night, I admitted it. I keep waiting for you to ghost me, I said. Cam didn't flinch. She just looked at me and nodded. I get it. I'd be shocked if you weren't a little wrecked. That response, That understanding. It did more for me than 1,000 apologies ever could. Meanwhile, the internet was still having a field day with the guy who exposed his cheating bride. I tried to stay off social media, but then someone sent me a Reddit thread. Apparently, someone found my old wedding website, like the full-blown RSVP here, meet the couple pages, and someone else posted a side-by-side with the wedding video moment. The comments were brutal, but not towards me. She really wrote he's the most loyal man I've ever met while sneaking around with her ex. Incredible. Marcus, wherever you are, hope you're thriving. King. Wild. I didn't comment, didn't interact. But yeah, I read every single reply. Because I'm still human. One night, I got a call from my mom. We hadn't really talked much since the wedding mess. I figured she was giving me space. Or maybe just didn't know what to say. But she called out of the blue, and when I picked up, she went straight in. I just want you to know I'm proud of you. Okay, I said, caught off guard. That's random. No, it's not, she said. Most people stay in crap marriages their whole lives because they're afraid of walking away. You walked out before the papers were signed. That takes guts. I sat there, quiet. Then she added, your dad would have done the same thing. And that wrecked me a little, because my dad left when I was a kid, not out of betrayal or some scandal, just left. Said he couldn't be the man he was pretending to be. I didn't understand it then. I do now. Leaving isn't always cowardice. Sometimes it's mercy for yourself. At one point, Kendall texted again. Not emotional this time. Just, can I come get the rest of my stuff? It was weirdly formal, cold, like we were ex-coworkers instead of almost spouses. I boxed everything, labeled it, even threw in her favorite mug and a charger I knew she'd ask about later. She came by when I wasn't home. I left it all on the porch. An hour later, I got one last message. Thanks. I hope you're okay. I stared at that text for a long time, not because I believed she meant it, but because it was the first time she didn't make herself the center of the story. I didn't reply. Not because I was mad, but because I was done. Cam and I were driving to get tacos at 11 p.m. one night when she randomly asked, do you think you'll ever want to get married again? I almost choked on my water. She laughed. Chill, it's not a proposal. I'm just curious. I thought about it for a second. Really thought about it. I used to think marriage was the final level. Like, once you hit that, you'd won. And now she asked, now I think it's just a contract. Like a gym membership, but with way more pressure and none of the endorphins. She smirked. Fair. But also, if it's done right, maybe it's just a way to say, hey, I choose you even on the days I don't like you much. I nodded. Yeah, I think I'd do it again. But only if it felt like that. Real, ugly, honest. She didn't say anything, just reached over and squeezed my hand. That's all I needed. Fast forward a bit. Cam and I, we became something. No big, will you be mine moment. No Facebook status change. We just looked up one day and realized we'd stopped seeing other people. Stopped wondering about where it was going. It was already here. I told her about the prenup, about the clause, about how Kendall tried to flip it later, claiming emotional abuse because I aired her out publicly. Cam laughed so hard she snorted. Imagine cheating on someone and then getting mad they didn't let you do it in peace. Exactly. She didn't see me as a victim. She didn't pity me. She respected me for walking away when staying would have been easier. There's power in that. And you know what I realized? Revenge isn't always some big speech. It's not torching someone's stuff or ruining their name. Sometimes, revenge is silence. Moving on, living better. Thriving while they spiral. Kendall could post all the aesthetic therapy reels she wanted. She could try to rebrand, rewrite history, but she couldn't touch the peace I'd built. And that was the real win. One last thing. A few weeks ago, I got invited to a friend's wedding. At first, I laughed out loud, like, you want me to sit through a ceremony after all this? But Cam nudged me. Let's go, she said. Worst case, we make fun of the buffet and leave early. So we went, and somewhere between the vows and the awkward first dance, I realized I didn't feel bitter anymore. Not jaded, not sarcastic, just fine. Like I could look at love and not flinch. And maybe that's what healing really is. Not erasing the past, just not letting it write the future.